Breaking tonight, Hurricane Erin lashes out, massive waves and dangerous rip currents closing in on the eastern seaboard. Parts of North Carolina already feeling Hurricane Erin's surge. The life-threatening surf stretching from Florida to Maine. Massive swells in Nantucket, beaches forced to close for days. Right now, conditions beginning to deteriorate along the coast. Bill Caron's tracking it all. Also breaking tonight, no sign of peace as the war in Gaza escalates. Israel calling up 60,000 of its reservists. The new plan to take over Gaza City as the toll on civilians mounts. In Texas, the families that lost so much. Heartbreaking testimony from the parents of Camp Mystic campers who died in last month's catastrophic floods. Their plea for new protocols, saying their children's deaths were entirely preventable. In California, chilling security cam video leading to the discovery of a woman's body in L.A. What we're learning about the man in that video, now a person of interest in his wife's death. The armed standoff in Malibu, a person barricaded inside a multi-million-dollar beach house. Aerial video showing officers in tactical gear closing in. The freak shark attack on the beach, a fisherman posing with the big catch when it chomps a chunk of his leg. What he told us after surgery. Plus, could the Menendez brothers soon walk free? The parole board hearing and why the final decision could be in the hands of Governor Gavin Newsom. Top story starts right now. And good evening. We are coming in the air tonight as Hurricane Erin threatens communities up and down the East Coast. The storm now on the edge of becoming a major Cat 3 hurricane as it crawls its way north. This is a live look at beaches in North Carolina and New Jersey tonight. You can see some of the choppy waves there, even as the storm churns hundreds of miles away. The new drone video from the Outer Banks of North Carolina, though, it shows those dangerous waves crashing on the coast and threatening some homes. Despite public warnings, video like this appearing on TikTok, people standing in those crashing waves, even jumping into them. Red flag warnings popping up along the eastern seaboard, beaches closed with the possibility of life-threatening rip currents and waves up to 20 feet. But it's not just the southeast feeling the power of Hurricane Erin. These images of wild surf cutting through the sand on Nantucket off the coast of Massachusetts. Erin's reach even more obvious in these images. This is from the International Space Station. You can see the eye of the storm clearly visible from 260 miles above. That's incredible. The hurricane expected to scrape up the East Coast without making landfall. That's the good news. Bill Caron's, though, standing by with the latest forecast. He'll walk us through what this all means. I want to begin with Aaron Gilchrist. He's live for us tonight on the ground, on the beach in North Carolina. Aaron, the wind's there. We can tell a little bit from that nice polo you're wearing there. They're picking up a little bit, right?
Yeah, they really are, Tom, and right on schedule for the most part. We did expect to start seeing and feeling the effects of Hurricane Erin in this area right around high tide today. That tropical storm warning is still in effect here. We've been watching as the winds have been increasing throughout the day. The wave action has become more constant as the day has gone on, and we only expect things to get worse as night falls. Tonight, North Carolina's Outer Banks under a state of emergency and starting to feel the early effects of Hurricane Erin.
Folks on the coast need to take care.
Dangerous waves already pummeling Lower Hatteras Island with more storm surge and tropical storm force wind to come. The combination posing a real threat to this oceanfront motel. 96-year-old Carol White Dillon is worried her 70-year-old business could be crippled by the storm.
I'm worried about losing my beach houses, yes, because they're money makers.
And you think that's a real possibility this time?
Well, I'm hoping not, but it's possible.
Local officials bracing for the life-threatening impacts. An overwhelming storm surge could make the only highway off Hatteras Island impassable. If these roads wash out, lives and livelihoods are on the line.
We're looking at how we can quickly get back up and running because this is also our tourist season. And this is where we make our money for the winter.
Video from the International Space Station showing Erin's massive size, hundreds of miles across, putting the whole East Coast on high alert.
These are life-threatening rip currents. You should not be in the water.
Fueled by those dangerous rip currents, many beaches have banned swimming along the eastern seaboard.
This is Mother Nature in her fury.
On the Jersey Shore, early signs of Erin starting to appear as officials warn residents to take it seriously.
It will leave its mark, and we will feel the effects in the neighborhoods, and it'll probably take some real estate with it as well.
Farther north in Maine, rough surf visible. Back in North Carolina, the time to leave the evacuation zone has passed. The holdouts now leaning on their preparations and hope. So you feel pretty safe?
Well, I would never leave. Let's put it that way.
That is one brave 96-year-old. Erin Gilchrist joins us live again tonight from Kill Devil Hills, North Carolina. Erin, you mentioned the time to evacuate has now passed. I know you've spoken to a few people who decided to ride it out. Do you get the sense that most people listen to the warnings, and if they live on the beach, they got out in time?
I really do think that most people did. We were told that tens of thousands of visitors evacuated Hatteras Island when they were ordered to do so. We know about 2,200 people were ferried off Ocracoke Island, residents most likely, some visitors too, ferried off Ocracoke Island. That effort has now ended. No more boats leaving Ocracoke. So folks who are still there, folks who are still on Hatteras Island are going to have to stay there, potentially be stuck there for several days if the storm surge has the impact that is forecast to happen there. The potential for washing out roads is a very real thing for folks who live in that area, Tom. But those people have different reasons for why they wanted to stay. A lot of them say they want to stay with their homes, they want to stay with their businesses, and they've stocked up to make sure that they can ride out the storm that's coming over the next couple of days here and days that they may be stuck without access to the larger North Carolina. Tom?
Yeah, no, those are very big concerns. All right, Erin Gilchrist leading us off here. Erin, thank you. Bill, you join us now live in studio. We've been talking every day for the past 2 weeks. Walk us through the timing here and where this monster storm is right now. And also, I want you to really explain to our viewers here, because people may be watching this at home going, why are they making a big deal about this? This is not going to hit the United States. It's a big hurricane, but it's so far away. But there's real dangers here.
Yeah, tomorrow night at this time, everyone's going to find out why we've been still talking about this storm and its possible impacts. So up to this point, Erin has been a big inconvenience, for businesses losing tons of money, vacationers having to cancel their plans, beaches closed up and down the East Coast. As we go throughout the high tide tomorrow, and then especially tomorrow night, that's when we're going to get into the damage phase of Erin's impacts, especially from the waves and at the beach, not inland. So this storm is going to hug away from the coast. It's going to be at its closest to Cape Hatteras tomorrow morning, but the storm is huge. I mean, 525 miles across, the tropical storm force winds will be at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. So if we're going to get some minor power outages and some minor wind damage, it would mostly be in areas of eastern North Carolina. And these are the peak wind gust forecasts. 50 in Hatteras, for them, that's not considered a really big deal. I don't expect a lot of wind problems. But as we go throughout tomorrow night, high tide is between 5 p.m. and 9 p.m. from coastal Virginia all the way down through areas of North Carolina, including the Jersey Shore and areas of Maryland and Delaware. That is when we're going to have moderate to major flooding. Water levels will be about 2 feet higher tomorrow night than they will for the high tide tomorrow in the early morning. So that's why all these red dots show you all the locations that we could see moderate to major flooding, water on roads, water into some homes and businesses, and that goes from New York City southwards all the way down to the Outer Banks. This hasn't happened yet. It's not going to happen until tomorrow night at this time, Tom.
Yeah, and then we see behind you there, we mentioned this yesterday, there's 2 other systems we're tracking in the Atlantic off the coast of Africa. Walk our viewers through that.
Yeah, so we have 2 waves, we'll call them. One's halfway across the Atlantic. This one has a 60% chance of development. One just off the coast of Africa, also 60% chance of development. The best news of all with both of these, the first one's going to turn and follow Erin harmlessly out to sea. The second one looks to develop and then dissipate in unfavorable conditions. Tom, we may get a good week in the peak of hurricane season with no storm threats in the Atlantic for anyone after Erin.
Wow, okay, that's interesting. And we're going to get our money's worth here, so I got one more for you. Right. Talk to me about the heat wave. It is summertime, but it's real hot in some spots.
Yeah, this heat in areas of the West, we're going to see record highs pretty much, Phoenix, Sacramento, many areas all through the West. We still have 56 million people under heat advisories in areas of the West, too, Tom. So we don't want to forget them. And school's in session, too, so it's brutal. Even some schools are canceling.
Yeah, sports, school, a lot. Oh. It is painful to be outside in some parts. All right, Bill, we thank you for that. I'm done. I got no more questions. Okay, we're going to take a turn here and turn to something even more serious. The Middle East and Israel's major military operation just underway. The target, Gaza City, what the IDF is calling the final stronghold of Hamas. But within Israel, growing opposition to the latest military operation, as 60,000 reservists are called up to take part in it. NBC's Andrea Mitchell's on this one.
Tonight, a desperate scramble in Gaza. 23-year-old Saja Hamad. You can only see her head as she's trapped by concrete and steel after an Israeli airstrike. Finally pulled from the rubble, alive, as Israel started expanding its war against Hamas, calling up 60,000 reserves and extending the tour of 20,000 already on active duty to take control of Gaza City, home to 1 million people. A controversial decision by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, his office says, for the defeat of Hamas. but opposed by families of Hamas hostages. Today, calling for Israel to accept Hamas's new offer of a 60-day ceasefire and the release of 10 of the 20 surviving Israeli hostages. But Hamas still refusing to release them all at once, which Israel and President Trump are calling for.
He wants all the hostages back, and that is the position that we have. We want all the hostages back.
In a nationwide strike, hundreds of thousands of Israelis marched against the war on Sunday. The head of the army is also opposed, arguing more fighting could endanger surviving hostages. Concerns echoed by American hostage mother Orna Nutra, whose son Omer was killed during the Hamas terror attacks on October 7th.
We've already seen what Hamas does. They won't hesitate to execute the hostages.
Okay, Andrea Mitchell joins us tonight from Washington. Andrea, it's important to point out here, Gaza City, home to one of Hamas's underground tunnel networks. Do we have a sense of how long this military operation could take?
Yeah, it's not going to be easy. Israel's military has said the new offensive could take 5 or 6 months. Netanyahu's office tonight telling the reservists, together we will win. Tom?
Okay, Andrea Mitchell on the latest on a war that just took a very serious turn there. Andrea, we thank you. In Texas, back here at home, emotional testimony today from parents of Camp Mystic flood victims, advocating for summer camp safety in the Texas capital. The devastating floods last month claiming more than 100 lives, including more than 24 campers sleeping in their bunks. Our Morgan Chesky has that story for us tonight.
This was 100% preventable.
Today in Austin,
my baby girl is still missing.
Parents who lost daughters when floods destroyed Camp Mystic pouring out their hearts and demanding action. 27 girls were killed. The mother of Seal Stewart, the only camper whose body's not been found, saying they were betrayed by camp officials who were unprepared.
Protocols that should have been in place were ignored. As a result, my daughter was stolen from us.
The parents supporting new legislation that would bar licenses for camps that place cabins in floodplains and require camps to conduct evacuation drills.
She was so kind, the most gentle little girl who fiercely loved her little sisters and all of her friends.
Blake and Caitlin Bonner speaking about their beloved 9-year-old daughter, Lila.
Why were our children sleeping in a known high-risk flood zone?
Lawmakers listening, some in tears, passing the bill out of committee as heartbroken parents press on.
What I do know is that my daughter should still be here. We can't let complacency claim the life of another child.
Morgan Chesky joins us tonight. Morgan, I do want to remind our viewers, this is your hometown. This is where you're from. Your family is still there. It is also difficult to hear. I can't imagine what it's like for you to be covering this and also to hear from those parents. But people do want to know what is next in terms of action from either state lawmakers or even federal authorities who are looking into this as well.
Right, Tom. We know that this is happening on multiple fronts simultaneously. As it relates to Senate Bill 1, which is what those parents were discussing today, that did pass unanimously out of the committee. Lawmakers very optimistic that it will continue to be passed through the Senate and through the House as well, although we don't know what the final version of that will look like just yet. In the meantime, we did reach out to Camp Mystic, and they say in part that they are continually working to create a safe environment at their camp, and that the camp does support legislation that would make any camp safer here. Although because they are working through this ongoing recovery, they're not speaking specifically to any legislation at this time. But Tom, as you mentioned, that Senate bill is just one of several pieces of legislation we're keeping a very close eye on in this second legislative session that was called by Texas Governor Greg Abbott.
And I'm sure we're going to be hearing from those parents for a long time because they suffered the ultimate loss there. Okay, Morgan Chesky for us. Next night, we're going to head to Washington, where President Trump is ramping up his attacks on the Smithsonian, accusing the American museums of bashing America, including focusing too much on how bad slavery was instead of the country's successes. NBC's Gabe Gutierrez has this one.
Tonight, President Trump is escalating his war against what he calls the last remaining segment of woke, accusing the Smithsonian of being out of control, where everything discussed is how horrible our country is, how bad slavery was, and how unaccomplished the downtrodden have been. Nothing about success, nothing about brightness, nothing about the future.
We want the museums to talk about the history of our country in a fair manner, not in a woke manner or in a racist manner.
A different tone than his first term when he toured the Smithsonian's National Museum of African American History and Culture.
This museum is a beautiful tribute to so many American heroes.
In May, NBC News found at least 32 artifacts that were once on display at that museum had been removed. That came after the president signed an executive order in March saying the Smithsonian was influenced by a divisive race-centered ideology that portrays American and Western values as inherently harmful and oppressive. Attorney Lindsay Halligan is leading the White House review.
We're just hoping to keep things positive and focus on America's 250th birthday.
But the president's comment about slavery drawing backlash.
That someone, who says something like that, is downright offensive. And to a great extent, I think it's evil.
While among tourists in D.C. today, mixed reactions.
I'm open to every entity undergoing a review.
They're not too woke. They honestly speak the truth about this country's history.
Gabe Gutierrez joins us tonight from the White House. Gabe, do we know if these reviews will expand beyond the Smithsonian?
Well, Tom, a White House official does tell NBC News that the president plans to expand his review of museums beyond the Smithsonian. Now, that could involve trying to withhold federal funding. You'll remember, Tom, the president has tried to do that with colleges and universities who he considers to be too woke, and he slammed their DEI initiatives. Meanwhile, the Smithsonian has not responded to a request for comment. Tom.
All right, Gabe Gutierrez for us. Gabe, we thank you. Back in Texas, the state's House of Representatives on track to pass a controversial redistricting bill that could help Republicans flip up to 5 U.S. House seats. Democrats making a last-ditch effort today to block the new map, even introducing an amendment concerning the Justice Department's release of the Jeffrey Epstein files. NBC's Ryan Chandler is in Austin tonight following this for us. Ryan, get our viewers up to speed. The proposed map has passed a critical hurdle.
That's right, Tom. We are watching in real time the last stand before the House gives final approval to this redistricting map that has sparked a national debate, a viciously partisan divide between Democratic and Republican states, each promising a tit-for-tat redistricting race. You see the map that is about to pass. In fact, it's happening right now, Tom. We're about to see third reading passage, final passage on House Bill 4 that's going to put those maps into place. We're expecting a party line vote. It was 88-52 on initial approval, and with the
88 ayes and 52 nays, House Bill 4 is finally passed.
House Bill 4 was finally passed. 88 ayes, 52 nays. There you go. With the gavel down there, this is a done deal. It will now move to the Senate. The governor's office told me just about an hour ago that he's going to sign this as soon as it gets to his desk. Could come as quickly as Friday. Tom.
Yeah, and Ryan, put this into perspective for all our viewers there, right? Democrats, doesn't look like they can stop it, as you mentioned. It's going to the Senate. It will change sort of the power control in Congress. It'll give Republicans an advantage, Republicans who have control right now, but it gives them 5 more seats. Talk to us about the implications here.
It could very well change how the midterms play out. Could give Republicans much more power in Congress by itself. But as we said, this has ignited a national conversation and threats of retribution from states like California. With this passage, it triggers that bill in California. Governor Gavin Newsom saying that they're going to create 5 more Democratic seats to wipe out any partisan gains that Texas Republicans hope to forge here. So this is not the end of this battle, but all of this is done with eyes toward national control of Congress come 2026. Tom.
Okay, Ryan Chandler for us on that bit of breaking news here. Ryan, we thank you. We're back in a moment with the fate of the Menendez brothers. Once again in the hands of a California parole board, could they be one step closer to freedom? What to expect at the first hearing tomorrow. And caught on camera, the husband of a mother found dead, spotted on ring cam footage, dragging what looks to be a large object wrapped in a sack. The international manhunt that's taken authorities to Peru. And the Florida fisherman who learned a painful lesson when his photo shoot with a shark went horribly wrong. What he told us from his hospital bed tonight. We are back now with the Menendez brothers and a potential path to freedom. 36 years ago, on this day, they murdered their parents. Both brothers are preparing to face a California parole board that could decide their future. They'll appear separately, Eric tomorrow, Lyle on Friday. After the board rules, the final decision rests with Governor Gavin Newsom. These hearings follow a judge's resentencing back in May that made the brothers immediately eligible for parole. So tonight, the question, after more than 3 decades behind bars, could these brothers soon walk free? NBC's Liz Kreutz has been covering all of this for us and joins us tonight from in front of the, I should say, not inside, from in front of the prison. Eric and Lyle Menendez are in tonight. Liz, can you walk us through what's happening at these hearings? Because they're a little bit different. They're not exactly going to be a sort of a court hearing we're used to.
Exactly, Tom. So as you mentioned, Eric Menendez will go tomorrow, and then his older brother Lyle will go on Friday. And these hearings are expected to last 2 to 3 hours each. They begin at 8:30 a.m. Pacific time here in California. And unlike some of the other hearings that we've covered, where there's been a big spectacle with both sides showing up outside of a court and a judge, this is happening all virtually. And so Eric and Lyle Menendez, they will be joining from their prison here. They will be joining remotely and joining via teleconference this hearing. And we expect the members of the parole board to also join remotely. And then throughout that hearing, they'll be interrogating Eric and Lyle, asking them questions about the crime, also how they've been rehabilitated, to understand their insights into how they're thinking about the crimes that they committed 36 years ago now. And in addition, Tom, to those interviews, the parole board is looking at a plethora of different things as they weigh this decision and decide if they should be granted parole. They'll be looking at tens of thousands of pages of prison records, looking at psychological risk assessment to determine what risks to the public they may pose if they're released. They're going to be looking at letters of support. And this is interesting because the family members have said that there are several letters of support that were sent in from former inmates that were spent time with Eric and Lyle, and also some corrections officers that say they've never seen anybody like them and that they deserve to be released. And also, the parole board will be looking at new evidence that was not introduced at the trial in the early 90s, or those 2 trials that the attorneys say back up the brothers' claims of abuse, which is why they say they committed these crimes. But the board is also going to be hearing from the LA District Attorney's Office and arguments against their release as well, Tom.
Yeah, and then, Liz, there's a wild card here, and that's Governor Gavin Newsom and his involvement. What do we expect?
Yeah, so tomorrow, after this hearing, it could be immediately after or maybe a few hours after, the parole board will come out and say, yes, Eric Menendez is granted parole, or no, he's not. And the same will happen on Friday for Lyle. So we will know the fate of Eric, Eric's fate, before we even know Lyle's fate. But at that point, let's say Eric is granted parole. He's not going to immediately walk out the prison gates here. There's then 120 days where the parole board can review that decision. And then after that, it goes to Governor Gavin Newsom. And in California, the governor has the power to potentially override that decision. So he could decide to say, no, they shouldn't be released. It's unclear where he stands. He did address this with the Monsters creator. That's the Netflix series about the brothers, Ryan Murphy. He addressed this on his podcast with him. Listen.
I guess it just begs the question, like, if not now, when? Like, what benefit to society do we have by keeping them there if they can come out of prison and actually serve some good?
Right.
And I think that's a powerful thing.
Yeah, it's interesting. The flip side is I've had people say, what good can come from sending a message that you can kill both of your parents and be released?
So far, Governor Newsom hasn't really tipped his hand either way, Tom, on how he's thinking about this. But you can see from that clip that he's certainly listening to both sides right now. And we should point out that he has a record of overriding a parole board's decision, as he's done in other high-profile cases like with Sirhan Sirhan. Tom.
Okay. Liz Kreutz, we thank you for that. For more on the Menendez brothers' fate, let's bring in NBC News legal analyst Danny Savalos. Danny, I want to pick up there right where Liz left off. If the parole board says no, okay, we're not going to release them, they don't deserve parole, Governor Gavin Newsom can overrule them? Is that what can happen?
In theory, all of this really comes down to a form of clemency from the governor, because whatever the parole board decides, it goes to the governor for a final decision. But separately, the governor has the power of clemency. He could wave a hand or a pen and pardon them or commute their sentences. So really, all roads lead to Governor Gavin Newsom. So whatever recommendation he gets, if he gets a recommendation to grant parole, he can veto it, he can amend it, he can even change it. So really all the parole board does is act as a recommendation to the governor, who truly has the final say in California, whether he decides to independently pardon them or commute their sentence, or to deal with the parole board's recommendation. The buck stops with Gavin Newsom.
The prosecutors here, right, have been sort of the prior prosecutor was seemed in favor. This one does not. How much will the arguments tomorrow impact the parole board, do you think?
Significantly. I mean, you have to take a step back. Couple different things here. Your straight-up odds in California of getting granted parole hover around 35%, which is an uptick over past years, but still not fantastic odds. Plus, you have the DA's office, D.A. Hochman, who, unlike Gascon, D.A. Hochman is opposing their release. He is going to be there as an adversary at the parole board hearing. And thirdly, you know, these brothers, they have a lot of bad facts. Yes, they've done a lot of good things since their incarceration, but people my age remember the facts of the Menendez case. And it's not just that they killed their parents. They went on shopping sprees. They tried to evade capture. They didn't turn themselves in. They were caught. And frankly, they probably should have been caught sooner than they were actually caught. So D.A. Hochman's going to oppose this. Yeah. This is going to be tough for them.
Two quick questions here, two quick replies, please. First, could one be paroled and the other not?
In theory, yes, but the crimes are virtually identical. You might have some difference between the relative youth of the younger Menendez brother, but that's about it.
And then what's your take? You've been covering it forever. What do you think is going to happen?
I think the odds are against them, but anytime you have a high-profile case, take all your statistics and the regular rule book and throw it right out the window. This is a case that stands by itself. It is truly singular.
So what do you think?
Oh, you're going to make me actually commit?
You don't know?
I'm going to play the odds. I always play the odds, Tom, as you know. I'm going to go no parole, but that's only because the statistics are against them.
Danny Savalas, we'll take you to Vegas next. All right, we thank you for that. Still ahead on Top Story, the wildfire blazing in the Florida Everglades, spreading smoke and haze all over South Florida. Back now with a disturbing story out of L.A. Security footage capturing the moment a man drags a heavy sack outside his Southern California home. Investigators say just days later, the body of his wife was found in a nearby forest, and that man has since fled to Peru. NBC's Dana Griffin has the latest on these chilling developments.
Chilling surveillance video shows a man dragging this heavy sack outside a Southern California apartment. Investigators say the body of his wife, 33-year-old Shayla Cabrera, was later found wrapped in similar material.
It's scary, very spooky.
Her parents telling KMBC they last spoke with Cabrera August 9th when she told them she was planning to leave her husband and take their 3 young children. That unsettling moment captured on surveillance video the following day, recorded around 4 a.m. according to neighbors.
I never had any interaction with the husband. He always seems like mad all the time.
A search team discovering Cabrera's body over the weekend in the Angeles National Forest. Officials say they are now searching for her husband, 36-year-old Josimar Cabrera, who fled to Peru with the couple's 3 children, ages 9, 6, and 4. According to KMBC, he was briefly detained at the airport, but released because at the time, his wife's body had not been found. The kids are now with their grandmother. As officials work to determine their mother's cause of death, tonight, a growing memorial sits outside the family's apartment, not far from where this Los Angeles mother may have taken her last breath.
So hard to watch that video. Dana Griffin joins us tonight from Los Angeles. So, Dana, are we hearing anything from anybody involved in this, including what's happening in that investigation over there in Peru?
Yeah, so Tom, we are hearing from the attorney for the suspect. He spoke to a Peruvian news station, essentially saying that the video does not show his client, or that it can't verify his client. He says it has no specific date, time, and it hasn't been proven to show his client. He also goes on to say that a forensic review needs to be done of that video, and adds that he thinks the video is edited. Now, this contradicts law enforcement and even neighbors who really spearheaded the search for Shayla. They canvassed the neighborhood. They reported her missing, and they say they found that Nest camera and that it was recorded on August 10th at 4 o'clock in the morning, just a day after her parents told KMBC they last spoke to her. Her parents saying that in that phone call, she told them that she was planning to leave her husband and take those 3 kids. Investigators say they are looking to extradite Josimar back here to the U.S., where he will likely face murder charges.
Okay, Dana Griffin with that video and that wild story. Now to Top Stories newsfeed, we're going to start with an update on documents in the Epstein case. A judge denied the DOJ's request to unseal grand jury transcripts related to the case. The judge citing possible threats to victim safety as one reason behind his decision, calling the motion a diversion from the Epstein files in the hands of the government. The DOJ is expected to hand over records related to Epstein to the House Oversight Committee starting on Friday. And convicted murderer Bryan Kohberger reportedly already struggling in prison, requesting a transfer and filing, get this, a sexual harassment complaint. Kohberger is housed alone in a cell where he's serving 4 life sentences after confessing to the murders of 4 University of Idaho students. The Idaho Department of Corrections saying they're aware of Kohberger's complaints. And in the Florida Everglades, a massive wildfire sending smoke and haze into the air, burning almost 20,000 acres of land so far. Roaring flames raising thick black smoke into the sky, that smoke making it all the way to Miami Beach. As of this afternoon, the fire was at 0% containment. Wild new video of a JetBlue plane veering off the runway at Boston's Logan Airport. We first reported on this back in June. The flight was arriving from Chicago when it landed on the runway and then turned onto the grass. You may remember the story. No injuries were reported. Okay, we're now turning to an armed standoff unfolding in Malibu. LA County sheriffs, I should say, deputies surrounding a multi-million-dollar beach home in full tactical gear as a woman remains barricaded inside. For more on this developing situation, let's go to NBC's Camila Bernal, who joins us from Los Angeles. This is an active scene, Camila. We just learned more information from authorities about how this all started.
Yeah, Tom. So now we know this started because a woman got into some sort of confrontation with someone. It's unclear if she knew this person, if this was a neighbor or someone she didn't know. But she had a bow and an arrow. And what she did is that she shot that arrow at this person that she was fighting with. This started at around 10 in the morning. So it has been going on all day long. And you see the video there, the chopper video, showing a ton of different things from the house. It could be garbage. It could be debris. You don't really know exactly what it is, but all of that was thrown out of this multi-million-dollar Malibu home. There is a beach access point in this area, so of course it was chaotic. The deputies trying to block off this area. There is a huge law enforcement presence. She is still barricaded inside of that home in Malibu as authorities are trying to get her out. But you see on the ground there the deputies as they're negotiating, trying to figure out exactly how to get her out. And again, this all started because this woman had a bow and an arrow, and she shot that arrow at the person that she was fighting with, Tom.
And do we know how that person's doing? The
we don't have any information on the no information on the victim, but we do know that law enforcement at the moment is really focused on the house, Tom. There's obviously a large law enforcement presence, as I mentioned, but there's also, in the video, you can hear them negotiating with her and trying to get her out of the house. They're saying, please come outside. We don't want to hurt you. So clearly they want this to go smoothly. They're being patient. They're willing to wait it out and asking her to come out peacefully. We'll wait to see exactly what happens. Last we heard from the Sheriff's Department, they were bringing in that tactical team, so it just appears that they're just waiting to negotiate with her. And then, of course, we'll continue to ask to see exactly what happened to the person that was shot with this arrow. Of course, this is somewhat bizarre. It's not what you hear every day here, Tom.
Malibu's most wanted right there. Okay, Camila Bernal, we thank you for that. Now to Florida, where a fisherman learned the hard way the cost of a picture-perfect moment. As his friends tried to snap a photo of the shark they just caught, the predator snapped back, taking a bite of his leg. Our George Solis spoke with the fisherman from the hospital tonight, where he's still recovering from his wounds.
In an instant, this photo op for a Florida fisherman turning into a trip to the hospital.
We gotta go, turning. Oh my God.
That's 48-year-old Sean Muse holding a lemon shark he and his buddies had caught during his birthday fishing trip at Cayo Costa, a barrier island in southwest Florida accessible only by boat or kayak. Muse says after removing the hook from its mouth, photos were being taken and things took a turn. The shark had other plans, biting and shredding through Muse's right leg, just below the knee, before flailing, splashing, and disappearing into the depths. His buddies acting fast after the bite, calling 911 as they raced back towards first responders. Later, he was airlifted to the hospital.
We're out shark fishing on the beach here, and one of the guys I'm with got bit in the leg.
Is he awake?
Yes, he's awake. We have a tourniquet on his leg. He's got a towel on it to try to stop the bleeding.
They took me off the boat, threw me in the ambulance, drove me to the helicopter, and now I'm here.
News speaking with us tonight from his hospital room at Gulf Coast Hospital in Fort Myers.
Why take the photo with the shark? Why take the risk?
Why take the risk? Because that's what you're doing it for the picture, for the memory. It was just when I went to release him, he turned. If I was an inch the other way, he would have missed me. It was just an unlucky accident.
Muse undergoing his first of many surgeries to come on Tuesday, his leg heavily bandaged. He'll need skin grafts and is ongoing multiple rounds of antibiotics.
You just can't underestimate, Mother Nature. You got to be careful when you're doing something like that. Obviously, he got lucky. There, it could have been a lot worse.
Lemon sharks are protected in Florida. It's illegal to harvest, possess, or land them. And if they are caught, they must remain in the water with their gills submerged and released immediately, according to Florida Fish and Wildlife.
Did you know that lemon sharks were protected?
No, I did not. Technically, we're still in the water, so we didn't take them out of the water. And, you're supposed to keep them up to your gill. But, it's hard to take a hook out of a shark when it's still swimming. So we didn't want to leave the hook in there.
But you're going back fishing?
100%. I'd go today if I was in here.
FWC says they are investigating the incident and says anyone caught violating the law could face up to 60 days in jail and a $500 fine. Now, Muse says FWC has not reached out to him, and he feels he did nothing wrong. Says this is going to be one of those birthdays he won't soon forget. Tom?
Okay, George Solis, wild video there. Just ahead on top story, the mysterious fireball. Have you seen this lighting up the skies over Japan? It's wild. And Rob Gronkowski's epic adventure, the duck boat, the slide, the spike, and Gronkowski, Gronk crying. The playground, unlike any other Gronk has seen, or it's actually his first one he's put together, bringing smiles to children in Boston. You don't want to miss this. Here with breaking news. We are live tonight from Juarez, Mexico, reporting over the skies of Lahaina here in Florida. The time to evacuate has come and gone. You were seeing people just running for their lives?
People running for their lives.
We've seen this almost unbelievable power struggle. What does this mean for Ukraine? It's the battle off the field that's inspired the world.
Every night, it's your news playlist. Top Story with Tom Llamas. Streaming weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
We are back now with our series, The Cost of Denial, and one family's struggle to get surgery for their daughter covered as she lives with debilitating pain. The insurance coverage denied twice, but that suddenly changed one day after NBC's Ellison Barber reached out.
Horror writer Rath James White doesn't mince words about his insurance company.
When you think of Aetna, what word or words come to mind?
Callous, unfeeling, greedy.
He first came to our attention with a viral TikTok.
My daughter is in pain.
About his daughter, Nala.
I have been paying for this insurance for years, and they will do nothing but just keep taking my damn money.
Diagnosed with degenerative disc disease at 15, Nala White says her teens were dictated by pain.
On a scale of 1 to 10, the walk from your room to the kitchen just to make breakfast, how painful could that be?
It would go past 10. It would be 11.
Living just outside Austin, Texas, years of treatments, including physical therapy, failed her. She found a voice for the pain through art.
Pain's getting worse, and the depression that goes with it, because you kind of feel like there's no hope.
Her mother, Christine, had similar issues with her neck and back when she was younger.
It is probably one of the worst things that you can go through. Watching your daughter go through pain. And I think for me, it was on a different level because I know the pain.
Multiple specialists gave them the same advice.
So the first doctor who said she needs surgery, we took a pause and said, we're going to get a second opinion. It was the second doctor who told us, yes, she needs surgery.
Oh,
that's
third.
when we, third, okay.
Christine kept records, 50-some pages of everything they'd tried and all the medical diagnoses.
I want to show you this because it just, I think I even circled it. Lumbar spine, started 3 years ago. The course of the symptoms is worsening. The quality of pain is characterized as sharp, aching, throbbing, numbness, tingling, stabbing.
But their insurance provider, Aetna, denied coverage for the surgery and then denied their appeal, saying it was not medically necessary.
They're just hoping that if they deny it enough times, that you will get tired of fighting and you'll go away and just deal with the pain. It is terrible.
Desperate, the family raised money online in part by selling Nala's art to fund the surgery themselves. Aetna declined an interview for this story, but when we asked about Nala's case, they emailed the very next day saying in part, Aetna has approved coverage for her back surgery. Nala had already had the procedure weeks before. Her parents didn't learn about the approval until we sat down for our interview.
Their response to me was this: Ellison, based on additional documentation provided by Ms. White's surgeon after the previous appeal was completed, Aetna has approved coverage for her back surgery. So I followed up with them and they said, Ellison, the coverage decision was made today and communicated verbally to Ms. White's surgeon in a phone conversation.
We had to fund the surgery ourselves with that GoFundMe. We raised over $33,000 from friends, family, people who don't even know us.
Nothing adds up. Nothing adds up.
Yeah, it was made after they saw your email. They saw NBC News and decided, we don't want this publicity, so we're going to approve it now.
Do you think Aetna would have reversed their denial if they didn't think you were going to be a part of NBC's Cost of Denial series?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
They called their doctor's office.
Do you want to do that privately?
And said they wanted us to record it.
I have to tell you, I'm recording this conversation.
Okay, no worries.
With NBC News.
Okay.
Okay. Did you receive a letter from Aetna on Friday approving Nala's surgery? Or a phone call? Or a phone call?
So I did get a message. Message came across to our office.
Then came the confirmation they'd been hoping for.
They approved the entire procedure.
Just curiosity, Alex, have you ever seen this happen before?
No, this is the first time, personally.
Thank you very much for talking to me.
Oh, not a problem.
All right.
We'll be in touch.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
All right, bye-bye.
It's pretty shocking.
Nala now doing better after her surgery. The relief from her pain, a life-changing event. Her family now hopeful for relief from the financial pain as well.
And with that, Ellison joins us now in studio. So, Ellison, you reported there the family paid for the surgery. Have they been reimbursed by the insurance company?
Not entirely. So far, they say they have only gotten about $3,000 back. The bulk of the bills, they are still waiting to see that reimbursement actually go through. Regardless, though, Tom, they are adamant. They believe the denial shouldn't have happened in the first place, and they think it has only changed because of this series.
Ellison Barber, the latest in our series of The Cost of Denial. Ellison, we thank you for that. We want to move overseas now with Top Stories Global Watch. At least 79 people are dead after a bus crash and fire in northwestern Afghanistan. The bus colliding with a truck and motorcycle, triggering a fire, instantly killing passengers. At least 19 children are among the dead. Passengers on the bus were Afghan nationals forcibly returned from Iran, which has expelled nearly 2 million Afghan refugees in recent months. History will be made in the Miss Universe pageant. Palestinian model Nadine Ayoub will be the first Miss Palestine in the pageant's history. In an Instagram post, Ayoub saying she hopes to represent the strength of the Palestinian people amid heartbreak in Gaza. The 74th Miss Universe pageant will be held in Thailand this November. And skies in western Japan were lit up last night from a giant fireball. Look at this one. Videos show the fireball flashing across the sky, visible for hundreds of miles. Some witnesses saying the phenomenon felt like the air was vibrating. That sounds cool. Experts say the ball of light was almost likely an extremely bright meteor. Finally tonight, retired Patriots tight end Rob Gronkowski shelling out more than $1 million to renovate what's being called Gronk Playground in Boston. Getting emotional today as he opened it up with a group of young fans celebrating in true Gronk fashion. Take a look.
It's hard to imagine anything more Boston than this. That's Patriots legend Rob Gronkowski doing donuts in a duck boat on the Charles River. A fittingly New England arrival to officially open the city's new football-themed Gronk Playground. The former tight end said he never cried after a championship win, but this special day was different. Just watch.
I thought of the idea to give back to Boston. Susan, you still have me moved. Oh. I thought of the idea to give back to the Boston area for all the love and support the city of New England fans have shown me throughout my career. And it was since day one. Even if I was acting like an idiot, they loved it.
1, 2. Of course, number 87 had to test the new slide, getting a push from the governor, followed by a signature Gronk spike. Gronkowski, who won 3 Super Bowls with the Pats, worked with the city for 5 years to build the $2 million fully accessible playground.
We've been waiting for this moment for a while, and just to see these kids, look at right there. That's what it's all about.
The new playground is already getting rave reviews from the experts.
What do you think of the playground and meeting Gronk?
But it seems no one had more fun than the biggest kid of all.
Gronk Playground is officially opened. Woo! Gronk spike!
All right, that does it for us tonight. Thanks so much for watching Top Story. I'm Tom Llamas in New York. Stay right there. More news on the way. We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.